Hey y'all, hey, and welcome to A Blunt and Tea with Christina B. I don't have much tea left. Excuse me. I don't have much tea left, but I did just roll up a herbal blend, and I have a few things to say. So today, well not today exactly, but this week makes the 1 year anniversary of my YouTube, my 1 year Youtubeversary, whatever you want to call it. Um, and as you know, if you've been watching my videos, the videos that The videos that I mainly do focus on, murder mysteries, true crime stories, things of that nature. The first video that I did was a officer involved shooting that took place in my hometown, Elizabeth City, North Carolina, and it was the killing of Andrew Brown Jr. Today, April 21st, marks 1 year since the incident, since he was killed. Initially, I wanted to do like a update video, but unfortunately, not much has happened since that time. Wooten, the DA down in Elizabeth City, he decided not to charge any of the officers that were involved in the shooting. And there were several officers there on the scene when the shooting took place, but only a number of them actually discharged their weapons and shot at Andrew. And of those officers that did actually shoot, they were placed on a paid administrative leave, which of course has long since ended, and they're back on the streets working, doing whatever they do. And Wooten made the decision to not press charges. He said that the officers were justified in the shooting against Andrew Brown, and he claimed they were justified in doing so because Andrew used the car as a weapon, so therefore it was something like self-defense. Though in looking at the video, the part of the video that was released to the public, it didn't look like that to me, but I'm not the DA. Though there hasn't been much justice for Andrew in the time since the incident occurred, what I feel like has been positive is the community support that has been given for Andrew Brown, for his family, for the justice that is being sought in this case. There's a group of people in Elizabeth City that have marched just about every day. Like I want to say every single day, but I can't say that for certain. I'm not sure. But they've marched damn near every day since April 21st of last year, since the day that he was shot and killed, and have demanded justice for Andrew Brown. I didn't even turn my light on. Hold on. Now, did that make a difference is the question. I don't know. But anyway, they've marched their asses off, and they've marched peacefully, they've marched vigilantly, and they've marched with the purpose. They've marched rain or shine, snow. They marched even when there were people in vehicles that were trying to run them over, literally run them over for protesting for justice for this man, when the cops were out there trying to push them off the streets, when there were pedestrians being mean to them, whatever, they were out there. There was people marching with their children day after day after day. I did go march one day. I did take my kids, and we went and marched in the very beginning when all this first took place, and there was still a large amount of people out protesting and speaking out about it. I did go march, but I mean that one day is nothing compared to the amount of miles that these people have put in order to try and get justice for Andrew Brown. I think that's super positive. It's got to be like one of the longest running peaceful protests out, because I mean that's dedication. Now I came into this wanting to touch on the Andrew Brown story, but didn't know where I wanted to go with it, because like I said, there's not much that has taken place since then. There's really not much that can be done. You know how court systems and all of that work. We made a decision. As far as I know, it has been appealed, but all of that stuff takes time. So if there is going to be any change, we'll just have to wait for it. But as I was sitting here talking, the story that came to my mind is the story of there's a black man. I do not know his name. I do apologize. I have not done any research into this case, so I'm not going to be able to give you that much information about it, just what I've seen. But I more so wanted to give my opinion on it, not necessarily talk about the facts of the case. But there's a story about a man, well, not a story, but a case where a black man was dating a white woman, and it is alleged that she killed him, stabbed him to death, or something of that sort, in their apartment or home. Supposedly, there are photos of her covered in this man's blood, and she has not been arrested or taken into custody, charged, or anything of that nature. Though it seems apparent that she killed this man. And I wanted to give my opinion on it because when I first looked at the case, I was just like, oh, this is a tragedy, like some more domestic violence stuff. Somebody had to lose their life because of some petty relationship stuff. I was looking at it like that, because whether it's the man kills the woman kills the man, whatever, nobody should have to die because of any type of relationship problem. You can just break up. So I looked at it as that type of tragedy. This man lost his life. This woman's crazy. What reason would she have to stab him to that? But then I saw that she had not been arrested. So that took me into the white woman, black man situation that we're in, because that's their situation. She's a white woman, he's a black man. So it's like, well, why would she have not been arrested? Because I didn't want to go to race at first. I was like, well, maybe because she's a woman and he's a man, she initially wouldn't be arrested. Because, sometimes women kill their husbands because they have been abused for so long and they're, just never being able to fight back and defend themselves. So, maybe it could have been that type of situation or, something like that. So I started looking into that, was there something more to the story, or did she just lose her mind and decide to kill her husband this day, her boyfriend? But when I started looking through, because I was on Twitter when I saw it, which is not a great source, to get information. I wanted to see if it was interesting enough where I actually got real information, did real research, to make a video, or if it was just, catchy little headline with not a lot of, meat information, what have you. Anyway, so I was on Twitter looking, but the conversation on Twitter was race-based. This woman was not arrested because she's the white man that killed, because she's the white woman, that killed the black man. That's the reason that she hadn't been arrested. But the race debate went further than that, because then people started pulling up this man's old tweets or Facebook posts or something that he had posted on social media throughout his life. And a lot of the things that he had posted were derogatory to black women. And so, because they, people are calling for justice. He needs justice. He's killed by a white woman. And black women across Twitter were saying, why should we stand up for him when all throughout his life he's took every chance he could to put black women down, and he did so without any need to, without there being a conversation, with just random on Twitter, I don't know his tweets verbatim, but I'm just saying, a random black man saying, I hate black women, I only date white women, I don't like black women because of this, just random various tweets throughout years of time of him degrading black women, talking bad about black women, stating how lucky, blessed, what have you, he was to be with his white woman. And then it comes to the point where he's killed by this same white woman, this woman that was his savior from black women. And the world looks to black women to stand up for him. You know what I mean? And that was kind of the rhetoric that these black women were having on Twitter. Why should we? Why should we care? You know what I'm saying? And I agree to an extent, just for the sake of justice, I do feel like this needs to be, investigated, looked into. She definitely needs to be arrested, questioned, held responsible, all of that. I do totally agree with that. But I also agree that that's not my fight, because had you lived, you would have never even given me respect. I mean, not that I would want to be with the man or anything like that, but you didn't even respect black women. With, you know what I'm saying? Because it's one thing to have a preference, like, oh, I just prefer white women, I prefer light-skinned women, I prefer Hispanic women, or I just happen to fall in love with a white woman. Whatever, you can date who you want to. But to make it that I only date white women because I hate black women so much, that's problematic. And it doesn't make sense. Like, what is it that you want me to do with that information? There is indeed some kind of self-hate going on with that, or mommy issues. I always feel like it's some kind of mommy issues personally. But it's something there. It's not normal and it's not natural. You can most definitely prefer or just be with people of another race, but it's not natural to hate your own race to that extent where you're like, oh, I would never be with the black woman. I would never, oh, like, black women ill. It's odd. It's just odd. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, like, I don't know. But, I mean, I do agree with those women that had those sentiments, because why? Why, when something happens, you know what I'm saying? Black women are the most unappreciated people on earth. We're treated the worst. We're like described the worst. All of the attribute, whatever that people think about us, are horrible. We're at the bottom of the totem pole. If you had to have, you know what I'm saying, like a totem pole, a hierarchy of races and genders, black women would be like the complete bottom. And we all know this. You know, it's never been okay, but it is what it is. But whenever something is needed, whenever help is needed, whenever anything is needed, culture, whatever, the black woman is the first person that everybody runs to. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I've used this example before talking to my friends. It's like, black men hate black women so bad, but the majority of black men, well, a large portion of famous black men became famous by acting like black women. And I don't mean like athletes and stuff, of course. I'm talking about like actors, musicians, what have you. Tyler Perry, the dude that wears the blue wig. I think he calls himself like Kiki or something. Like, there's countless, just about any, and even like famous people. Will Smith, the Wayans brothers. Most black men that are famous in that industry first had to act like, depict a black woman. Jamie Foxx, all these little comedians all across TikTok, all these black men, all the skits they're doing are depicting black women. Period. Black women culture, women of culture, women of colors culture is what's copied a lot. It's copied, it's stolen, from the hair to, you know, everybody's getting BBLs and getting their lips done. How many black women were joked for having big lips and big asses as kids? And now you have everybody running out trying to get a big ass and get some big lips. How many black women were joked for being dark-skinned? I've been joked for being dark-skinned. And now it's like everybody wants to tan. People are blackfishing, blackfacing, all of that. And it's all the stealing, the whatever of black women. You run to black women, you get a new idea, you run to black women. And that shit, it is what it is. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not saying like, oh, the whole world revolves around black women, but there's a little portion of the world that I'm living in. The culture is, a lot of the culture, a lot of the whatever is dominated by black women. The things that black women have done and accomplished throughout this time. And that just is what it is. So, but it's not fair that we have to carry that burden, but we get none of the appreciation, we get none of the praise. So in reference to this man, it's like, nah, the black woman isn't who's supposed to fight this fight. Who needs to fight that fight is the black men that have those same values as that black man. Y'all need to fight for him and get justice for him, because that's, you know what I'm saying, that's y'all's people. And I'm saying, I love black men. I love black people, period. I love black men. You know what I'm saying? Like, I personally don't date outside my race. I only date black men. But I can say that black men, like anybody else, like any other group of people, they have their problems. They have their issues. Their things that need to be worked on. Black women have the same, thing. There's things that black women as a group, as a whole, need to work on. We ain't talking about that right now. But this thing with black men and only, is very toxic with the, like I only can date outside my race. I only want white women. I need a baby with good hair. I need a baby with light skin. It's odd and it's toxic. Like, okay, I have a white aunt. Her name is Aunt Jewel. I love my aunt dearly. She's the best. Love her to death. Whatever. But my uncle didn't marry her because he hated black women. You know what I'm saying? It's not like he had a disgust so deep for black women that he had to go out and, seek and find this white woman. No. And I can't tell you how they met right now, and they've told me before, but I don't remember, honestly. But, they met some kind of natural way. They happened to like each other. They dated. They fell in love. They got married. Whatever. You know what I'm saying? Normal sequence of events when dating. It just is what it is. Before he was with her, he was with the black woman. Because they got married when I was a child, when I was young. So I do remember them. You know what I'm saying? I remember him being with somebody before her that was a black woman. So, you know what I'm saying? It's not... I don't know if I'm making sense. But it makes a difference. Because it's one thing for my son. Because I have two sons. As I said before, it's one thing for them to come home with a white woman or a Hispanic woman, an Asian woman, and be like, "Hey, Ma, I met so and so, and I really like her." Blah blah blah. Versus them coming in with Becky, like, I can't stand these black bitches. They made me so sick. I went and got me a good girl. You walking with a white woman. It's just like, let's reevaluate this. You can be with her, but let's reevaluate the reasoning. You know what I'm saying? Because if you're only doing something in spite of somebody else, are you happy? Are you really fulfilled? Are you really getting what you want? You know what I mean? Like, because you're not talking about how in love you are with this woman and how happy she makes you. You're talking about how different she is from somebody else. How better she is than somebody else. It doesn't seem genuine. But anyway, I feel like I'm 12. But I don't even think that it's all that. I feel like we really put too much emphasis on race anyway. Like, I mean, there is a big difference racially because of, like customs and culture. But that's really just based off of where you live. You know what I'm saying? And it just so happens that usually where you live, the people that live around you or near you look like you. So, I mean, to me, we focus a lot on color because that's what we can see. It's easy. Like, I can look at you and see, oh, you're brown. Oh, you're white. Oh, you're, whatever. You have red hair. You have orange hair. You have whatever. But it's harder to pick out, specific traits and attributes about a group of people. Well, I guess it's not harder. It's just, it takes more intellectual capacity. You know what I'm saying? Like, because it's very broad. Like, oh, I just don't like black people. But then it's just like, oh, I don't like people that are blah, blah, blah. You know what I'm saying? Because ask somebody that's racist why they don't like that race. They generally don't have a reason. It's usually some kind of stereotype. A lot of racist people don't even know any people of the opposite color or have any, like, real experiences with them, I've come to realize. But it is what it is. And again, this video, I feel like I talked about nothing. But I do feel like that like this are in Africa. I feel like the original people here were black, but I don't feel like that has much bearing on how the people look now. Well, no, I don't feel like it has much bearing on, like importance of people, because there is such thing as evolution. You know what I'm saying? I don't think that, I'm going to say this. I don't think that, we evolved from an ape or a different, like, humanoid type of creature. I don't think that. But I do think that since we've been humans, since we've been this, we've evolved, if that makes sense. So I feel like, just like with anything else in creation, when God was creating us, those are like, the prototypes. So, not that, well, you make something, it wasn't good enough, or it wasn't exactly how you wanted it to be, you know what I'm saying? You throw it away, you make another one. I feel like that was the process. And then when he got to this form, people, what we are, then we progress. Either that or those earlier people were for a purpose. Like everything, serves a purpose, you live, you die type thing. Like there's animals that are now extinct, there's plants that are now extinct. You know what I'm saying? So maybe those people were built, made, created in that way for a certain purpose. They served their purpose, and then, life moved on past that. And, I guess that would be a form of evolution, but not directly how science explains it. But to me, that makes more sense. And then we just evolved because the physical affects us. So, like I said, people are, because melanin is affected by the sun, so people in more sunny places like Africa have more melanin. And when you go across the globe, because as you go across, you tend to get to places, tend to go from more sunny areas to least sunny areas, so you get across to Europe. And those areas where it's not really sunny, it's very cloudy, muggy, not a lot of sun penetration where your skin would be, absorbing it, or at a point even able to handle the absorption of the sun. So it will make your skin lighter. Your melanin is not used as much. You know what I'm saying? It just makes sense. It's not really a difference in people. It's just how your physical responds to the physical around you. But at a point, because it's now been however many thousands, millions of years, it's just a genetic thing. So, no matter where you live, you will, to an extent, no matter where you live, you're going to look a certain way based off of how, your ancestors, the people before you look. I'm saying, because I've never been to Africa. I'm not African. You know what I mean? It's not as hot here, as sunny here, whatever, as it is in Africa. And I'm sure that if I actually lived in Africa, I would be darker. When I was a kid and played in the sun and stuff, I was darker because I stayed outside more. But, my natural color, which is this, is still I'm pretty dark. I'm a pretty dark shade of brown. But that's just, naturally because of it being, like, inbred into my genes. So it's not, it's just not as important as people think. It's really a silly thing to divide people, like your skin is lighter than mine. It's really an odd thing. Like, I watched the movie when I was younger. I don't remember what the movie was. And I think it's true. I think it was like based off a real war in Africa. But they were like the Tutsis. It was two groups. I think they were like the Tutsis and something else. And they were at war. They were fighting. But they could tell the difference in the people by their noses. So it was like one group of people had like a wider nose, and the other group of people had like, you know, a longer, slimmer nose, and that's how they were able to distinguish themselves between each other. You know, like, I'm sure they were fighting for something more than the nose thing, you know what I'm saying? But literally, that's what divided them. So it didn't matter if your views were more balanced with the long nose people if you had a fat nose because you were born a fat nose. You know what I'm saying? So it's like I don't even agree with what the fuck we're fighting about. You can't switch sides because you a fat nose. It just doesn't make sense. It's just like it's a silly thing to divide people on. You know what I mean? It's like in the movie they're going around. It got to a point where like they had one group of the people had invaded the other group of the people's place, and they were going around, you know, like just killing people. It's like anybody that had the opposite nose from what they had, they were just killing them. You know what I'm saying? They could be not politically connected, not caring about what's going on, nothing. You know what I'm saying? Just here and happen to have a fat nose, and I'm dead. And it's just like that's literally what racism is. People saw somebody back a long time ago for whatever reason got upset with somebody of a different color and decided that they didn't like them, and that festered and mitigated into a whole group of people mindlessly and senselessly disliking a whole other group of people to the point of chaos. It reminds me of that. Okay, have y'all seen Avatar? Not the Avatar with the blue people, but the Avatar that used to be on Nickelodeon with the dude with the blue arrow on his head. Avatar. There was one episode where, because okay, y'all know that show is like super deep it's deep, but the Fire Nation and Water Nation were once just two people. So they started off as just like two people. They were kids and they grew, you know what I'm saying? They multiplied whatever into being two full nations. But when Aang, who was the Avatar, the last Airbender, when he went like into this trance or something, he went back into why is the Air Kingdom and the Fire Kingdom feuding. And he went back in his mind. He went all the way back in time to the beginning, back to when these were the original avatars that created the nations, I think. So when he went all the way back, it went back to them being like 7. These little kids were like 7. They were playing this game, some game with a ball, y'all. They were just playing a game. And the Air Nation kid cheated. I'm gonna do this. And the Air Nation kid cheated or whatever, and it caused the Fire Nation kid lose. It was something more to it, whatever. But that was it. Fire Nation Avatar held a grudge, and 10 million years later, these nations are still at war. You know what I'm saying? Something as small as that. And that's really what I think it is between Black people and white people. I don't know if there's any way we could like be able to go back now and see like what happened, but I'm sure it was something super petty like that manifested into what we have today. I mean, it's a story that's been written about a lot of times, like Shakespeare with the Capulets and the Montagues, and like it's some TV show that had a few like with like two country families. Whatever, y'all know what I'm talking about. I just been letting my bus move itself. But, yeah. I don't know if it's something that's too far along to fix. I don't feel like it is. I mean, a lot of times I have like these glimmers of hope because it seems like, with new generations, and I'm pretty young to be saying generations, but it seems like with the new generations, kids are becoming, more liberal, less racist, more prone to disagreeing with what their parents, grandparents believed in, and actually challenging it and being able to stand up and, voice their own opinions and things of that nature. And I think that's really positive. And then you have other instances like Dylan Roof, he was so young to do something that was so violent and racially motivated. It's like, well, dang, like is the next generation getting better, or are they getting worse? But I don't know. It feels positive though. I mean, nothing can last forever. There has to be an end to this era, like there is to any other. I don't know if there's going to be specifically like world peace, because there's freaking 7-8 billion people. There's bound to be disagreement. I'm trying to find. There's bound to be disagreements, of course, but I feel like it's possible for us to be more on one accord, like we have been, like back in the day, back before all of the colonization, all that stuff. The world seems to be, well, from what we know of history anyway, because I wasn't there, but the world seems to be more in harmony. Energy seems to flow better. Things just seem to, flow, and it doesn't seem like we're flowing anymore. It's like we're going against the grain. We're working against what we're supposed to be doing, and we're suffering for it as a whole. You know what I'm saying? Each little different area of the world has its own issues and problems and whatever that occur. But as a whole, I don't think things are as good as they could be. I don't know. Definitely something that's not going to be fixed or changed within my lifetime, because I ain't got that much time. But, I think one day things will be better. Well, y'all, my blunt is gone, my tea is gone, so I'm done rambling to y'all for today. Thank you so much for joining. I hope you listened to the end. If you did, thank you, thank you, thank you. I really appreciate it. Like, share, subscribe, comment down below. Please talk that shit. Let me know what I can improve on. Let me know things that I can talk about. Yeah, but I really enjoyed it. I can't wait till the next time. I hope you roll up and have a chat with me. I love you. Be great to you. I'll see you soon.